Resentments can mess you up, man. They can steal your energy. They can keep you from doing what you want with your life. But it's so hard to let go of a resentment because they feel like they need to stay. They feel like they're justified, that there's a reason for them, but there's really not. But I promise you, resentments leave on their own when you're ready. The resentment might be serving you in some way. So don't feel bad if you have any resentments right now, because they will go away on their own. On today's episode of the Shaman Patrick Show, we're going to talk about that. Being patient, but being willing and open to these resentments leaving, because it can be hard to let go of them. But what happens when they leave? I'm telling you, life becomes different, more amazing, more beautiful, more magical. Do you want to talk about that today? I sure do. On this episode of the Shaman Patrick Show, let's go.
He was once a storm in human form, sharp tongue, cold soul, heart worn and torn, living like a ghost who missed his grave till the spirit sang out and called him brave. He got rewired by the great unknown, heard the call like a dial tone to the bone. So pull up a chair, enjoy the glow. This is the Shaman Patrick Show.
A few weeks ago, a resentment just left me. Like, I don't know where it went. I don't know where it went. I didn't even know how much it was affecting my life. You know, we don't talk about shamanism all that much on this channel, which might be strange because this is the Shaman Patrick Show. But I believe that the shamanism needs to happen off camera. Personally, preferably in person, but sometimes it can work over Zoom as well. But I'm not going to talk about shamanism here because I didn't do anything shamanic to release the resentment. I didn't do a ritual. I didn't do a ceremony. I just let it go on its own because God knows there was nothing I could do to release that resentment. It was a pretty big one. Not going to get into the details about it, but those of you who know my story might be able to put two and two together, but it's not about the other people. The resentment is personal. You know, resentment is a lot like the word sentiment, a resentiment. You play these things out over and over in your mind. They'll drive you crazy. It's like having it on repeat. It's like this. Imagine recording a video of the event on your phone. And every time you opened your phone, there it was, replaying for you over and over again, over and over in an endless loop, hell on earth. And without getting into the details, let me tell you sort of what happened. You know, something happened a year ago and it was fucked up. It was trashy and fucked up and full of mind games and mental fuckery, and couldn't get an answer. I couldn't apologize. I couldn't forgive. Like, oh my God, it was a big one. I call it Lovecraftian because it had to have been designed by Cthulhu himself to drive me crazy. And so, that's how we came up with the Ender of Minds deck. Like, I'll just give you, we're not ready to release this yet. No, you want to be enlightened. Well, what is this one? This is what happened to my Ender of Minds preview? Oh, well, I guess I'm not supposed to talk about it, but we came up with a Lovecraftian deck to end the identification with your mind. So anyway, this fucking thing happened and it was crazy. And it happened to me and my husband and one other person. And man, we couldn't talk about it with anybody else. Nobody else could understand it. Nobody else could listen to us because they didn't understand it. Sometimes things happen to us, especially if we're dealing with alcoholics, addicts, or some really sick people. You know, alcoholic people do alcoholic things. Sick people do sick things. And mesh family system, all of that. Woo! Lord, it is a mess. But you got to live. You got to move on at some point. But let me explain to you. The thing that happened was on my mind 24 hours a day. For 24 hours a day at first. Like I would wake up in the morning, I would think about it. Whatever I did, I would think about it. Before I went to bed at night, I was thinking about it. I couldn't stop. I couldn't fucking stop. I would try to send text messages and delete them. I would pick up the phone and get ready to call, and I would put it down. Then I got to the point where I would just send imaginary text messages. Like, what would happen if I said this? And I would usually play the tape through, and I'm like, oh, it's best just to not say anything. It's best to just zip my lip and not say a word and just focus on releasing this resentment. So I would look up YouTube videos and I would look up things on how to release a resentment. And these people would tell me all this cockamamie shit. They would say, pray for the other person. Are you fucking kidding me? Praying for this motherfucker? Are you kidding me? Nope, I couldn't do that. Couldn't pray for people. Other people would tell me, just pray for them. And I'd be like, do you know what this motherfucker did? Do you know what this person did? Oh my God. Because I was replaying it. And if you're looking at me like, well, Patrick, you're a shaman. Shouldn't you know this stuff? Yeah, I should. How do you think I learn it? How do you think I learn it? I have to go through this stuff. Now that I'm on the other side of it, here I am. Wow, let me tell you how I got there. Let me tell you how all this played out. Some people said, recognize your role in it. That was a little easier for me to do because even though I didn't cause the situation, I definitely made it worse. Definitely made it worse. I even tried to apologize for making it worse. That didn't really work. That's when I learned, man, I better shut up. Because just by apologizing, I'm making it worse. I need to shut up. I need to shut up about this. But I can't talk about it. And I have to shut up about it. Oh God, what are we going to do? What are we going to fucking do, right? What made it worse is that I suffered consequences. Like I already had IBS. And this situation did not make that any better. I was also trying to work and live and eat, clean the house, but I couldn't. Oh my God, I couldn't. I was like stuck. I mean, I limped along. I still managed to do YouTube. I think I did a pretty good job, even though I was in pain in a lot of the videos. We've done well over 100 episodes of the Shaman Patrick show. I was in severe stomach pains for 70% of them, but the work had to get done. So some people said, why don't you write it out? How is that going to work? I mean, I wrote a whole book about it. My relationship to this book will forever be strange because this book came out of that resentment with just the ego itself. It wasn't about them. It was the ego itself. I thought about making this book go out of print because I wrote it in a place of resentment. Merrick wrote it from a place of resentment, but I know many of you have really enjoyed this book. So I'm going to let it stand. But it happened. I don't think we could write this book today. I don't think I could write this. I wouldn't be interested in writing this book today. But it's done. What's done is done. So it's a very specific place, but my relationship to this book is going to be strange. I almost want to say I wrote this in a very strange place, but man, it really got us somewhere. It helped get us somewhere. I'm going to bring this book up later and releasing this resentment that I had. So recognizing your role, writing it out, praying for the other person wasn't working. But here's what I noticed. Like over time, I found myself thinking about it less. I found myself not trying to find the right words to say, because I realized for people in ego, the conflict is the goal. They don't want things smoothed over. They don't want harmony. They don't want peace. And if they're trying to cover something up, or if they're ashamed of something, they definitely don't want honesty. They don't want to have an honest conversation with you. Are you crazy? They don't want to talk about what really happened. They don't want to hear your side of the story. Someone in ego consciousness, they want to keep that shit going. Let's keep it going. There is no reason for us to get over this. So I found I had resentments with people who wanted to keep this resentment going. And energetically speaking, I started to realize that they were feeding off my energy. Oh yeah, I was giving them energy by constantly thinking about them. Wah, wah. So I realized in a way it was very vampiric. It was draining me. That's why I was having stomach issues. That's why I couldn't sleep a full night. I'd be up at 1, 2, 3. And what would I do? I would just get to work on something. Get to work. I worked so much this past couple of years, this past year. I feel like I felt like I always worked. Even when I'm watching TV, I'm working because I'm thinking about shamanic lessons that I'm getting from the things that I'm watching, and I'm going to share them with other people. So having time to myself was, nope, it's the resentment and this and that. There was very little time for me. Very little, almost none, zero, zilch, nada, not going to happen. Patrick, you don't get any time to yourself while this resentment is going on. Very vampiric, stealing my energy, stealing my health, stealing my ability to make money, stealing my ability to take care of myself. Was it the spirits, or was it something different? Do you think I was actually getting some kind of thrill or satisfaction in having this resentment? Was I loving being the victim of this shit? Maybe, possibly, probably, yes, sure. Could I be willing to live without it? After a few months, it just became habit. It was a part of my life. I'm going to wake up, I'm going to be resentful. I'm going to wake up, I'm going to hate it. I'm going to hate it, I'm going to hate it. I hated it. I hated every minute of it. My husband also had this same resentment. We had this resentment together. And it defined a large part of our marriage the past year. It was like, it was us against the world, us against the people who caused this resentment. Fuck, what a mess, huh? What a mess to just be resentful. Going to our recovery meetings, going to talking to other people, writing about it, telling other people about it. But then we decided about a month and a half ago, we need to go to meetings every day for a while, because the people that we had a resentment against, they were dry drunks. They were very dry, but they were perfect. They were not alcoholics, you see? So they were downplaying the 12 steps. They were downplaying all of that. And it really did do a number on our program. It really did. Over the years, it had this sort of mind fuckery stuff, because they didn't need the 12 steps. We needed them because we were flawed. And it was just very So the first part of having a resentment against a dry drunk is this, because every time I tried to talk to people about it, they would say, well, Patrick, you're taking their inventory, or Patrick, but I'm like, this fucking thing happened. See what I mean by Lovecraftian? because everywhere I went, it just kept coming back to, this ain't going away. This shit ain't going away. So there were stages, and especially when you're dealing with a dry drunk. A dry drunk is someone who has quit using a substance or alcohol, but they still do the things that are associated with that, those alcoholic behaviors. They're still lying. They're still gaslighting. They're still trying to cover things up. They're still, especially a dry drunk will feel superior. Like, I didn't need help to quit drinking or using. I'm perfect now. And I'm like, man, these dry drunks. But a dry drunk will also project their misery out into the world. They will literally make people miserable. And, they may have been able to do this when they were drinking or using, because they could project misery. They could live in misery, but now they don't get the relief of drinking or pill popping or whatever they use to escape the dramatic, chaotic reality that they create. So while some people quit drinking, everybody else still has to fucking live with them. And that was a situation like that was happening to us. So, we tried to say, please go get help. Please do that. That just made it worse. See what I mean by making it worse? But eventually I got to the point where, I'm dealing with this dry drunk. I know they're dry. Other people know they're dry. We all know they're a dry drunk. But like most alcoholics, they're usually the last to know. The very last to know. I was the last to know. Merrick was the last to know. Usually we're the last to know. Everybody else in our life knows it. And when we finally understand, oh, I'm an alcoholic. I'm an addict. Okay. Oh. So here's where I got to the point. This person kept trying to convince me that they were not an alcoholic, even though they kept doing alcoholic things. To the point that I'm like, are they drinking again? Because they say they're sober, but they're acting like a drunk. And it was very mindfucky. But eventually I got to the point where, well, it don't matter if they think that they're an alcoholic or not. Doesn't matter. I know it. I mean, here I had worked in recovery. I'd helped lots of people deal with this stuff. Lots of men especially deal with this. And don't you think I can recognize that in people that are closest to me? I had the opportunity to talk to lots of people at the convention this weekend about that. When you see it in your family and friends, what do? But see, these people that I had a resentment against, they said they were interested in healing, that they were interested in all this stuff. They weren't. They were lying. They were lying about it. They had no interest. They wanted to learn just enough to keep getting away with the shit that they were doing. And you know what? I taught them. I taught them how to pretend. I taught them how to pretend to be sober. I taught them the lingo. I taught them. See? Oh man, that resentment. That's why I don't tell people anymore. I don't get close to people who are on the fence. It's my right to only want to have sober people working a good program in my personal life, in my inner circle. That's my right. That's your right too. I don't want to deal with a bunch of drunks and dry drunks in my personal life if I'm not getting paid to do it. Even then, I don't necessarily want to get paid to deal with it anymore either, which is why I no longer work at that rehab. I will help people with other things, but as far as trying to convince somebody that they're an alcoholic, I'm out of that game. And I don't even know really if we did that in rehab, but the rehab was weird because people would come there seeking help with their alcoholism and addiction, but so many people reported that they didn't have that problem that eventually I got to the point where it don't matter if you think you have the problem or not. Doesn't matter if you think you're an alcoholic. Don't fucking matter, because they will try to convince you that they're not. They will appeal to you. They will please don't put this label on me. And I'm like, honey, you put it on yourself. You put it on yourself through your behavior. I had nothing to do with that. I had nothing to do with that. I had nothing to do with it. So it's never been about convincing people if they were an alcoholic or not, despite what this resentment was all about, pushing it onto people. Like, oh God, fuck, what a mind fuck. What a mind fuck. What a mind fuck. Oh my God, this resentment. So I got to that point where, you know what? Doesn't matter. Doesn't fucking matter. I don't care what you think. I don't care. I don't care. My job as a shaman is to help people heal from stuff. And most of the things that people need to heal from, they can't even see it in themselves. They can't see what they need to work on. I rely on other people because I have that blindness. We all do. We all do. The resentment kept going and going. And I thought I was going to have these people in my life. And that's why I didn't want to let it go. I didn't want to let this resentment go because I didn't want to forget. This hurt really fucking bad. Oh my God, it hurt. It hurt me so bad. It hurt me so bad. I mean, there was all this evidence around my life, in my bank account, in my business, like all this stuff, like evidence that they had been in there fucking with stuff. It was inescapable. So I had to learn. I knew I had to forgive them, but how? When the consequences of this relationship were all around. I'm sure many of you have been there. Somebody coming into your life, fucking a bunch of shit up. I mean, Lord knows I've done it. I've done it. I've been chaotic in people's lives. One time in 1992, some friends and I moved into an apartment. We did a bunch of acid and we started drawing in Sharpie and magic marker all over the walls. All over the walls. And for months we lived there and we covered every square inch of that house in crazy ass magic marker bullshit. And then the three of us pieced out and moved to Portland, Oregon. And you know who had to clean up that apartment? The people that owned it. They had to clean it up. They had to clean up our mess. So definitely I felt this was a little bit of karma coming back, because that's how you learn these lessons. You're like, oh, you don't make messes for other people to clean up. Okay. This is what you get when you're on this path. You're going to get your own shit served back to you on a silver fucking platter. And when I talk about this in meetings and with other people who know, it's like you get your character defects represented back to you. And it's like, oh, it doesn't feel so good, does it? No. People who've stolen from people, they get stolen from, and it's like, oh God. So I was definitely leaning into that, like getting a taste of my own medicine. Please, thank you. Never again, never again. And these kinds of karmic things, when you get your shit represented to you and you have to deal with it. Like, how many people have had resentments against me for the chaos that I caused in their life? So definitely, knowing about that, it's probably just time for some payback. How do you become a more conscious person? Through unconscious people. That's how you become a better person. You have to go through a lot of pain. I'm definitely more conscious on the other side of this. I can tell you that. I'm wiser, I'm more knowledgeable, I'm kinder, I'm more compassionate. But with these people, I can't have them in my life. I just can't. Much in the same way that many people throughout my life have had to say, look, dude, you can't be coming around here methed out, wanting to take your clothes off. You can't be in my car snorting cocaine in the back seat. Many people have had to set boundaries with me in the past because of my fucked up behavior. So it seemed like everything was sort of wrapped up in this resentment. Because it hit all the high points of the fucked up shit I've done in my life. It hit all the high points. Chaos causing, lying, cheating, maybe some stealing in there too. You get that shit back. And you have to get that shit back in order to truly understand why you cannot be out there in the world half-cocked and crazy. You know, and while we're on the subject, I used to think that the laws were the problem. Ooh, I'm getting a big ringy in my ear. Something big's about to happen. So I used to think that the laws were the problem. Like, I should be able to do psychedelics. I should be able to do acid and mushrooms. They don't harm other people. I should be able to drink as much as I want and stumble out to my car and drive home. It's my right. I think I should be able to do as much meth as I want and be a pest to people, to be up for 3 days and then text people and talk about crazy shit with them and be sexually inappropriate with people. And I thought it was my right to do all of that stuff. And when I crossed boundaries, people got pissed. They would set them down. No, Patrick, no, get the fuck out. And I used to think that people were abusive, but I found out they were just trying to protect themselves from my chaotic, crazy ass. So when I set boundaries with people today and they get upset with me, I'm like, okay, yeah, I used to feel that way too. I used to get really upset. So if I was using a guy for sex and he set a boundary and said no more, I'd get angry. If I was using somebody because they had a nice car or something nice that I wanted to experience without having earned it, they set a boundary, I'd be like, fuck you. Like one time, this guy let me stay in his house. And his only condition was that I water the plants. Well, I went off on a week-long bender. And I didn't water the plants. And when I came back, he was mad. And he said, you can't stay here anymore. And I'm like, they're just plants. So when I tell people you don't have to be ashamed of stuff because, well, you don't. And I don't judge you for things because I have been a storm in a human form in many people's lives. I don't do that anymore. I mean, yesterday I was driving in my car and I feel like, you know, this is the phase of the afterlife where you're starting to get all your lessons, and then you're gonna just like a doorway is gonna open, and they're like, Patrick, it's time. Like that's what it feels like right now. Like I feel like I'm coming into a period where I've worked through a lot of shit. Thank God. But it definitely, like when I first had my near-death experience, I was definitely in the afterlife for a while. And in the afterlife, if you're in those constructs, that you live for a while without having much money or resources, and you just kind of learn these lessons. But I think for anybody who has had a spiritual awakening, it is the afterlife. It is the afterlife. Like this is where you really learn that shit before you move on to the next phase of your existence. So yeah, I started setting some boundaries, and there were tears, there was upsetness, and because I couldn't necessarily tell them why I was setting the boundary because they didn't understand, much in the same way that I didn't understand. I thought it was my right to be able to do what the fuck I wanted because I was raised by people who thought it was okay to do whatever the fuck they wanted. They didn't care how other people felt. So when I got arrested for driving drunk, I said, I don't have a problem with alcohol, officer. And she said, I'm sorry, sir, but people who get DUIs do have problems with alcohol. You do have a problem with alcohol. The same way that I can tell dry drunks, people who are acting a certain way, you're an alcoholic, whether you drink or not. I know some very sober, non-drinking alcoholics. They don't drink at all, but they are the most alcoholic people you will ever fucking meet. So part of this resentment, I could forgive them, but obviously it would be crazy for me to have these chaotic, destructive people in my life who don't think that they're chaotic and destructive. Very destructive. Like, I'm here in this house. There's still a lot of there's still a lot of shit going on in this house that was caused by these people. And I got to clean that shit up. I got to get on a sure footing again, but I can't be involved with chaotic, destructive people. Nobody can. You got to have a lot of money to be able to deal with some of these destructive people. Sometimes you have to pay them to go away. So, I had to say I can't ever see them again. I'm probably never going to see them again. These bridges need to be burned because if they try to cross these bridges again and they burn the bridge on my side, I'll be stuck with them forever. So definitely, I wasn't able to get through to them and for them to see how chaotic and destructive they were. I had to just set the boundary. No, I can't explain it. I don't have to explain it. But you can't control yourself around me. You can't stop being chaotic and destructive. And I can't have that kind of shit in my life, you see. I'm sick. I got IBS. I can't deal with this shit. Plus, I'm a sober person. Sober people can't have a whole lot of drama in their life. Not because we're weak or we can't take it, but who in the fuck would choose to have drama in their life? I like peace. I like serenity. It's very unlikely that I would choose to disturb my peace now. That's why I don't watch the news. It's why I've fixed my YouTube algorithm where I'm not getting presented with crises and disasters and hurt feelings and fails or content about negativity. That was one thing. I had to get rid of all that negativity. The worst thing ever. The top 10 worst thing, the worst. I was like, what the fuck is this? No. You can do that. You can go on your YouTube algorithm and you can click on those little 3 dots, right click or whatever, and say, don't recommend this channel or don't recommend this video. I don't like it. You're setting boundaries with your own algorithms. You can do this on X. You could do it on YouTube. Facebook is dodgy. Facebook is just, I don't know about that. So I had to say, well, obviously, you cannot have chaotic people in your life. You cannot have people who cause you a bunch of drama, especially if they don't realize they're doing it. That makes them dangerous people. I mean, I myself was a dangerous person when I was so chaotic. And so you can't really convince people like that they're chaotic and dangerous because they'll never see it. But man, when I talk about this situation with other sober people and they go, oh, those people are dangerous. You can't have people like that in your life. You cannot. So that was another thing. I had to stop talking to people who didn't understand it. I had to talk to people who worked through similar things because it's crazy. It's Lovecraftian. So I needed to talk to other Lovecraft fans. Sometimes I tell people why I don't talk to my family and they're like, oh, I get it. I'll say, yeah, they're like the Texas. Have you seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre? They're like that. But instead of killing you and eating your physical body, they will do that to your spiritual body and your emotional body. Many therapists and addictionologists over the years say you cannot talk to these people. Even my gastroenterologist said, stay away, change your name, change your number. Can you imagine what that would feel like to people, a family who, like, I have a lot of compassion, but so many doctors have told me you cannot be in contact with these people. They are dangerous people. And they are dangerous, especially people who don't know their own strength or their own power. Very dangerous. And so if I were to tell these people that I had a resentment over that you're dangerous, they wouldn't understand. I hear music playing. So something I said activated a smart speaker somewhere in the house. So if I activated your smart speaker, you'll enjoy that song that was playing. Some Bollywood song, I think. It was pretty cool. But anyway, I don't even remember what I was talking about. But it doesn't really matter because now I'm going to tell you this. So I had been working so long to release these resentments that were all knotted up. They were knotted up. And we started going to meetings every day, and I started to get around some sane people, some people with some good recovery. And I would try to tell them the story, and they weren't buying it. They weren't co-signing my bullshit. They were like, and I would try to tell different ways about why I had this resentment. They were not buying it. You see, they wouldn't let me get away with it. And that's why you need people in your life that don't co-sign your bullshit, because there were other people who'd been letting me get away with it. They were letting me tell the story in this sad, pitiful way. And then you get around some people with some really good recovery, they're going to reframe it. They're going to it's magic. It's magic. And thank God for those people. So then when I realized that I'm not going to be able to get away with this bullshit much longer, and going to meetings and talking to people again and really getting back into the program. And, it just, I don't know. I started working on the masculine restoration book, and I started writing, and in the midst of writing it, I shifted just by writing a new book, just by, I don't know, like everything that I learned in the past year just came out. It was, and I wasn't telling the story of, I was telling about, what happened to us last year was because of weak men. And if these men had been masculine, we wouldn't have gone through this shit. And I realized, oh my God, this whole year was about writing this book. That the only reason that we went through the shit that we went through was so that we could write this book. But it wasn't just one book. We wrote this book as well. And we came up with a new card deck. I actually did a whole other Oracle deck that I haven't even told any of you about. And there were other things too. Like, I don't know. I didn't realize it at the time, but I was like, well, we have another book. And then I started telling other men about it. And they're like, oh my God, this is really good. This is life-changing, Patrick. This is going to change my life. And I'm thinking, wow. And so Merrick was in the shower, and he got out of the shower, and he was standing there, and he's talking to me, and he goes, you know what I was doing in the shower, Patrick? And I go, what? He goes, I was writing a eulogy for these people that I have a resentment for. I was writing a eulogy. And I'm like, and something just happened. I go, why would you write a eulogy about them? And he goes, well, because I have to forgive them. I have to forgive these people, and I can't forgive them until they're dead. And I was thinking how wrong that sounded, because my parents have passed. They're gone. And I never got to have a good relationship with my parents because they never got to grow up. They never got to grow up. They were blaming me till the day they died. If only other people would have done what I wanted them to do, I would have been free. So I'm able to be myself today because my parents are gone. It doesn't mean that I'm glad they're gone. I wish I would have found the magic words. But, I don't want to tell a eulogy for anybody until they're actually gone. So I said, babe, that sounds really wrong to me. Why do you need to forgive people who gave you such wonderful gifts? And there it was. I didn't even realize that the resentment was gone until that moment. I didn't realize that I had shifted out of that resentment, the day that I sat down to write that book. Now, did that book cause the resentment to go, or did the resentment leave and then I was able to start working on that book? I don't know. I don't even think it matters at this point. The fact of the matter is that what I told my husband next was it was so incredible for me to say this. So he was like, "What do you mean gifts?" And I said, well, look at all we've done. Like, if they had not pulled that bullshit, we wouldn't have written The Machinations of Ego. We wouldn't have. We wrote that book because of their bullshit. And furthermore, we wouldn't even be interested or wanting to become, to restore our own masculinity if that had not happened. And definitely we wouldn't have wanted to write a book about it or even help other men restore their masculinity. These were gifts that were given to us by them. And they were not gifts for us, they were gifts for other people as well. Like, everybody gets to have a gift from these people and their behavior. And you can't forgive people who give you gifts. That would be weird, to forgive people who give you gifts. Like, if somebody gave you $100, well, fuck you. Now I forgive you for giving me $100. I forgive you for giving me 1,000. I forgive you for buying me that car. Like, it just sounds so stupid and ludicrous for me to have to forgive people who gave me and you such wonderful gifts. I said, we wouldn't have done the album. We wouldn't have, this whole year was punctuated with so much wonderful stuff that was caused as a result of the fucked up shit that happened to us a year ago. So we got all these wonderful gifts. If these people had not been delusional, dry, drunk alcoholics, we wouldn't have done this stuff. And there in that moment, I felt it. I touched it. I was like, man. And I told Merrick, I'm like, I've shifted. I don't feel bad about this stuff anymore. I don't feel bad about it at all. I mean, I'm definitely not gonna to call anybody up and say, hey, I'm through my resentment. Let's hang out. No. I'm not crazy. I still don't know if these people will ever be a part of my life again, because it would be insane to open that Hellraiser puzzle box again. It really would. Not until I'm in a much better place. But as far as the resentment, it's just gone. It's just gone. And I can't really tell you the precise thing that caused it to go away, because I think it had just played itself out. The gifts had been given, and now it was time for it to go, because there was a purpose to that resentment. A purpose. Look, here it is. Can you imagine resentments having a purpose? I used to look at resentments as if, God, I don't want this. But it felt so terrible and awful to me that I had to find a way to release it. I had to. So I'm glad that the resentment is gone. I'm glad I've shifted beyond it. And I'm also glad that I can, not just with these people, but with other people. Like, I can try to get in touch with a family member. They won't call me back. I don't feel bad about it. I don't get bent out of shape about that stuff anymore. I'm enjoying it. My stomach problems have almost all gone away. I'll have the occasional bad day, but hey, I don't have stomach pain now. And I love not having stomach pain. It really, oh my God, it's so lovely. It's so lovely to not be in stomach pain or to have resentments or grievances or anything like that. So the lesson in all of this is the resentments will go away on their own when they're done serving their purpose. And we may never know what the purpose of those resentments are. But when they're gone, they're gone. They're really fucking gone. And I'm not looking to create any more resentments. Like the first time I heard of this, I was in a meeting and this girl said that she was trying to not let a resentment form. And I didn't even know anything about resentments when I was drinking and using drugs. I mean, I was ate up with resentments. I didn't know what they were. But that struck me. Like, how do you not let a resentment form? Well, number one, you don't go into situations where you know you might be resentful. You don't invite certain people over for dinner if you know they're going to smash your plates. That's a great way of not letting a resentment form. So definitely, I do not see me getting back in close relationship with dangerous or unsafe people full of secrets and all of that. Like if you've got a secret, you keep it. I'm not a secret keeper anymore. I'm definitely not. But I do want to end this video by saying, just let it play out. Let it play out and see. And you know, I felt like at the time that I was wasting a year on these resentments, but no, I wasn't. I received such beautiful gifts because of it. I'm like, my God, I can't be mad at these people anymore. And I love them in a way that I can't even explain. Just gratitude. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for these gifts. But see, these were not even selfish gifts. They're gifts for other people as well. So happy birthday, y'all. You guys are getting the benefit. If this message moved you, you are also getting the gift of the fucked up shit that these people did. And it turns out at the end of it all to not be so fucked up at all, but maybe being the stewards of a necessary lesson and transition for this little gay ass shaman. Thank you so much for joining me today. As we end this video, I'm going to play you a song from our new album, You Want to Be Enlightened. One of my favorite albums I've ever heard. I love this album. Cathartic. If you haven't gotten it yet, please do so on our website at Concrete Shamans. It's free until Halloween, the digital deluxe album with some bonus tracks. And today we're going to listen to one of those bonus tracks. Love is Coming Back Around. Merrick wrote this song. He recorded a demo of it. And so we were able to recreate it with the help of some AI tools. And I love it. Love is coming back around. I love you all so very much. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.
Love is coming back around. Love is coming back around. Love is in the heart, is in the heart, is in the head, is in the heart, is in the soul, is in the feet. Love is coming back around. Love is coming back around. Love is in the heart, is in the heart, is in the head, is in the heart, is in the soul, is in the feet. Love is coming back around. Love is coming back around. blood, is in the head, is in the heart, is in the soul, is in the feet.